Hi guys and dolls. Today I want to talk to you about something that a lot of people, especially guys, don't know much about. Emotional intimacy. Okay? Sensuality, emotional intimacy. When you have a real connection with someone, you have emotional intimacy with them. If you supposedly love them or you supposedly care about them, you would have an emotional connection. I'm looking out the window, so bear with me. But anyway, you would have emotional connection. Could mean you can feel each other. You can feel each other's emotions. Sometimes you could finish each other's sentences. You know how to read their facial expressions and their body expressions. You know their body language when they communicate because you're in tune with them. Sensuality is a different story. It doesn't have anything to do with sex. It has to do with senses, thus the term sensuality. A touch, smells, the textures, something sensual doesn't have anything to do with sex. For example, you're being sensual if you're on the beach and your eyes are closed and you're smelling all the salt come in off the ocean. You just close your eyes and you're like, oh, it's so fresh. That's sensual. When you hugged your grandma as a kid, you could smell her perfume, or your mom, or whoever it is who you were close to. That's sensual because that pertains to your senses. Emotional intimacy, I find a lot of people lacking in that area. They swear up and down they're connected, but they're not. Because if you were to ask them, well, what's their biggest dream? What's their biggest hope? What kind of background did they come from? What is the relationship they have with their parents? Are their parents still alive? How has your past, in your opinion, how has your past shaped who you are today? These are the types of things that people don't even know, but they think that they love somebody and they think they're connected to someone. But there's so much that you don't know. And just because you laugh a lot, just because you joke a lot, just because you get along really well and you have similar interests, it doesn't mean that you know them on an emotional gut level. If you know someone on a gut level, you can tell when their day is not good and they haven't said a word. You can tell when they're sad. You can tell when they're trying to act like everything is fine, but deep down inside, you know that everything is not fine. You could, even if their facial expression doesn't give it away, you could tell by the vibes they're giving off because you're in tune with that person. And in today's day and age where physicality is the most important thing and sex is the most important thing and scoring with people is the most important thing, all of that significant stuff gets I can't talk today, gets kicked to the wayside. Sensuality and senses and looking at the different greens in the trees and smelling the ocean and walking barefoot in the grass, walking barefoot on the sand, those are all sensual things that people don't take time for because they want to jump right into the other. And when you're supposed to be emotionally connected to someone and you have an emotional, not sexual, emotional intimacy with someone, you take things to a whole new level that surpasses physicality. Just doing something subtle, like you reach behind their neck while they're driving and you massage their shoulders for a few minutes, or you touch their hair, or you hold their hand, or just little tiny things are more substantial than the physicality. Let's just jump in bed, and it just takes away, you're robbing yourself blind of so many beautiful things in life that don't involve that. You're robbing yourself. It's like a emotional armed robbery, because a lot of people don't get that. Sights, smells, your soul, how you feel, how something takes your breath away, the beauty of something takes your breath away. Though that's sensuality, because it involves your senses, things that you see, things that you touch. And I don't mean physicality. Let's just completely take that out of the conversation. There's a humongous difference between sexual sensuality and daily sensuality. You could spray your body with your favorite body spray, perfume, cologne, whatever it is that you have, and that's a sensual experience, because it involves your senses. I'm looking out the window, so bear with me. Just watching people. Anyway, that's what I do. Anyway, so you put your favorite fragrance on, and that involves your senses. That's a sensual experience. Loving on a puppy, holding a puppy in your arms, that's a sensual experience. You could smell their puppy breath, and you could feel their soft fur, and you could feel their heart beating next to your body, and that's a sensual thing. And when you don't know these things, and you don't surround yourself with things, or lose yourself, that would be better. You don't lose yourself in experiences like that. You're robbing yourself. You're robbing yourself of something that is amazing. I mean, I've walked barefoot in the sand. There's no feeling like it. I've walked barefoot on the grass. There's no feeling like it. And people who are, and I have a lot of experience with this, as you guys know, people who are, for lack of a better description, emotionally dead. They have no concept of emotional intimacy. They have no concept of sensuality. It just totally escapes them, because they don't even have the basics to have a connection with someone, for example. You have to have communication skills in order to create emotional intimacy. You have to have concern for someone other than yourself in order to create emotional intimacy. You have to take time out of your busy life in order to feel sensuality. You have to take time out. You don't have to have money to do it. You could go to the local lake, creek, beach, whatever, and put your feet in the water, and just feeling it tickling around your ankles. And that's sensuality, because it involves your senses. Let's see, what else? If you don't have water near you, you don't have a beach near you, or any of that, then let's see, what else could you do? I mean, there's a multitude of things you could do. You could run outside in the rain, or walk outside in the rain, for all that. Just let it pour down on you, and feel. You could smell the rain in the air. In fact, you could smell it in the air before the rain even comes, before it even starts. And these are the things that people lose grasp of. And if you're one of those people that you have to have your cup overflowing, you have to have 1,000 balls juggling at the same time, and I've known people like that too, you're missing out on so much, because you're constantly on the go. You're going, and you're going, and you're going, and you're going. And my eye is bugging me, and I don't know why. Like a piece of lint or something in my eye. Piece of hair, lint, something, I don't know. Whatever it is, it needs to stop. It's bugging my senses. Get it? Senses? Anyway, I've known people like that. They have to have 1,000 balls in the air. They just have to do that all the time. Go, 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 until they're exhausted. And the weird part is they'll complain about being exhausted and I need to slow down and I can't move and oh my God. And one person in particular, I told her, but she wouldn't have it any other way. To which she had no response. And when people have to run and go and go and go and go, what in the world are you running from? What are you running from? What is it that you're afraid of? Some people don't want to spend time alone with themselves. And if that's the case, why would someone, sorry guys, if you don't want to spend time alone with you, why would anyone else want to spend time alone with you? Think about that. Because you gotta run, go, run, go, run, 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 go, 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 go. What are you running to? What are you running from? Again, you're robbing yourself of emotional intimacy. You're robbing yourself of sensuality. You're robbing yourself of a real connection with someone. You're just robbing yourself. You're just you don't even have time to feel because that's the way you deliberately set things up. Unless you just have a job that's so demanding. But even then, you have to have time to take a bath or a shower, right? Let that be your sensual time. You know, a bubble bath, aromatherapy. Those are sensual things that arouse your senses. Everything does not involve the other thing, you know, physicality, as in sexuality. That has nothing to do with sensuality. It does, but it doesn't. Like, a lot of people think that that is the only type of sensuality, and it so isn't. You know, I've known people who are, like I said, emotionally dead, but they think that they convince themselves that they really are into me, or they're really into their partner. I really love that person. You think so? What do you know about them? Well, we get along. Okay. What else? What are their hopes and dreams? Do they have a bucket list? If so, what's on it? What is the most exciting thing in the world that they would love to do that maybe they can't do because of finances or because of where they're located or whatever? But what is something that makes their heart do triple beats? Do you even know? Do you even know what makes your heart triple beat? You know? What would make you go nuts? What would make you lose it? What exciting thing out there would just do it for you? You know, it would be all encompassing. It creates an emotional intimacy with yourself, and it's a sensual thing because it stimulates your senses. You know, what is happening with my eyeball? Maybe I should take it out and soak it. Sometimes you want to, right? You want to take it out? But anyway, you know, one thing has nothing to do with the, like I said, the physicality, sexuality has nothing to do with it. That's just besides the point. Emotional intimacy, and a friend of mine talked about this the other day. Like I said, somebody will swear up and down that they're emotionally connected to you, but they don't see that you are having an issue, or they don't see that you're having a physical issue. I've been through that too. It just totally oblivious to them, you know. A total stranger was hip to what I was going through, and she offered to help me, which I politely declined. I said, well, I'm going to try to do it on my own, but thank you. I mean, I challenge you guys to, the people that you're close to, whether it's your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your fiance or your spouse or your best friend, I challenge you to have heart-to-hearts with them. I challenge you to touch their soul. I challenge you to make a questionnaire, maybe, I don't know, 10 questions, and ask those questions to that person, and you can respond to those questions also, so that you can create an emotional intimacy with them that you didn't have before. You know, something you've always wanted to know, something you were afraid to ask. And there's times that there needs to be a medical emotional intimacy. And what I mean by that is this person's health is failing, and there's a strong possibility they won't survive. Do you know what their wishes are? Did you discuss it with them? Do you know anything about, are they afraid to die? And these are things that people don't want to talk about. But if you are going to be someone's, what's the word? Power of attorney, or medical power of attorney, or general power of attorney, whatever you're going to be, those are questions that you have to have answered. Do you have a living will, and what are your wishes when you pass? You know, these are things that people like to run away from, but these are conversations that need to take place, especially if someone's in a situation where they could pass. You know, I don't know if, I see somebody, she's reading him the right act. I don't know if I can. I'll kind of be looking off to the side if I look that way. Okay. Anyway, you know, but that's a different topic. But I tried when my grandma wasn't doing well. I had an emotional. I had emotional connection and intimacy with her that we had never had before. And I saw a side of her that I never saw before. And she got sentimental, and I've never seen that side of her ever. Ever. I never saw that. It was different, you know, but it was nice and it was beautiful at the same time. Yeah. So, you know, I was, I don't know, if you're supposed to be, like I said, you're supposed to be into somebody, that they should be able to read you. They should be able to read the tone in your voice. They should be able to know that, again, you know, like I said, oh, I'm fine, I'm great. No, you're not. What's really going on? Someone who's connected to your heart and your soul and your spirit and your mind. You could tell them everything's cool, but they know different, because they're not stupid. They know. They just freaking know. You know? And that's just the reality. But there are so many people that are just not, I don't know. You know how you could look at, let's just take relationships, and let's just take a couple, for example. You know how you could look at them and you could tell they're connected? You could just tell. The way they look at each other, the way they just converse back and forth, and they're really listening, genuinely listening to what each other is saying, and they do that all the time. And if you're around that a lot and you're not with someone in a relationship, you're like, you know what, one day I want that. I want that. The connection that they have, I really want that. Because that's not a common thing. People get so used to each other that they're in the car together, and they've been together for who only knows how many years, and they have nothing to say to each other. They're just in the car like this. And they're looking out the window. They have nothing to say to each other. They go to a restaurant. I've seen couples do this too. They go to a restaurant and they don't say one word to each other. Like, how's your meal? How, you know, do you like it? Nothing. Kind of staring at the plate like, this is the most fascinating thing I've ever seen in my life. Look at the pattern. I don't ever want to be in that situation. And obviously, if you're comfortable with each other, you don't have to be talking all the time, and you don't have to connect all the time. But there's a depth with emotional intimacy that if you don't have it, there's an emptiness. There's a big, huge void there. Big, huge void. And so many people don't get that. They just don't. They just don't get it. I don't know why, but they just don't get it. So I don't know. That was on my mind today, and I don't know. Maybe if there's a good response to this, I'll do part 2. You know, makes me sad to think that it makes me sad to think that I'm a deep person and almost no one can match my depth, especially in a partner. Nobody can match that because they're too busy worried about themselves and they're too superficial and all they care about is the here and now. And they want to connect in stupid ways, which anyone can connect to you that way. It doesn't require any special skill. But they're eager for that, but they're not really eager to be, here's the key word, not eager to be vulnerable to someone else. And an emotional intimacy requires you to be vulnerable, and so many people don't want that. They want to be in control. I've got control of my emotions, and I've got this, and I'm good. I'm strong. What's attractive about that? Why do you have to be strong all the time? If you can't be vulnerable around the person that you're connected to, then what's the whole point? Because emotional intimacy causes emotional closeness, which also causes, you know, the bond and a vulnerability that's safe. You're safe being vulnerable with this person because you know that they are, if you genuinely are connected on a genuine level, you know that they're not going to hurt you emotionally and you're not going to hurt them emotionally, you know? So, I don't know, that's what was on my mind today. You know, and if there's more that I want to add, then I may do a part 2, I don't know. And there's little things that that women notice. My friend and I were talking about this the other night. There are little things that women notice that men don't do. And I'm sure it's vice versa. I'm not picking on any gender. But there's little things that people don't do because they're just inconsiderate. They're just in their own